along, but also you have to choose what works for you because it's really different.
The fashion industry critically very well, you realize that we're getting back to where we started. We are actually picking a sense of fashion from the people who are there before us, probably in different generations, and we're just putting a little bit of tweaks here and there, but I mean it's more or less the same. We're getting back to the good old days, so fashion is just a cycle. It's like a pattern.
So one time we used to wear leather and
Oh
skin.
yes, oh yes.
That is in the days of the early man and all that. And then we are going back to
Exactly,
leather and skin.
Yeah, we're just, you know, twisting it here and there, but I mean, at the end of the day, we are doing what our elders did. Yeah.
So, as we do what our elders did. But Robert, just a quick one before we get to that. Like, what are some of the things that you love to wear? Are you a jean person? Are you a cowboy thing, old school? Or are you a suit guy, what?
I love jeans. I love jeans so much, and when it comes to shoes, I love boots.
You know the history of jeans? It's attributed to World War.
Oh, I hadn't taken
There was a
time
lot
on
of
that.
cold war. It has to do with weather and World War. So for some of you out there who love jeans, clearly you're carrying on a culture. But most recent, as I've told you, millennials have shifted so many things. The things you see when you walk in this town. Let's take a look at our local stories. We'll also be looking at international stories, but of course, again, much more of this we'll be discussing throughout our program today. Being a Friday, we try to loosen it a little bit, and we talk about topics that probably people never want to discuss, you know, but we do take the eager to discuss them. And of course, we'll be talking about, as I told you earlier, a bit of what's this whole thing of Valentine? I mean, today is a Friday. We may not have this discussion before it. You know, I mean, what are the expectations? What should we expect? Is it the people who are the feminines only? It seems like this day is for women. I don't know, probably it's another Women's Day, but well, we'll be having that discussion later on. But for now, let's take you through what was trending in the papers for last evening, locally and internationally, and Mollen, myself, and of course, Robert.
And we'll begin with His Excellency, who met a group of former NUP supporters, that is National Unity Platform, that have reformed and chosen to take the right direction. President Yoweri Museveni met a group of 91 youth, formerly supporters of National Unity Platform, NUP political party, who had been undergoing mindset change and leadership training at the Institute of Security and Intelligence Studies. According to Colonel Charles Oluka, the Director General of Internal Security Organization, the part of the 91 were commanders of different NUP youth-led groups who took part in the November 2020 riots, demonstrating around Kampala during and after electioneering period. While briefing the President, Colonel Oluka said the group was taken through political education and ideology training, including the NRM ideological pillars of patriotism, Pan-Africanism, socio-economic transformation and democracy, among other areas that were revolutionary methods of work, mindset change, leadership and discipline, political motivated crimes and their dangers, among other topics that made them change agents in their respective areas. He assured the President that the time spent with these youth was not put to waste, and they are reformed people who will propel development and peace.
Well, we look at the Omorimo tributes. Now, unity and hard work is part of what will be permanently remembered on the legacy of the fallen Iteso Culture Union leader Omorimo Augustine Osborn. Now, while paying their tribute, members of parliament emphasized the need for cultural institutions to work with government in promoting unity, development, and harmonious living. The motion to pay tribute to the fallen Teso leader was moved by Prime Minister Robin Anabanja and seconded by Leader of Opposition Mathias Mpuuga. Now, staring at his subjects who tricked in one by one at Parliament was this portrait of fallen leader of Iteso Culture Union, Augustine Osborn. Now, the arrival of Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, was just in time for the afternoon session to officially kick off. Now, with the mover and seconders of the motion present in the House, it was time to hear more about the Omorimo. Now, a peacemaker who never meddled in politics, as indicated by members of Parliament, his leadership was just exemplary. Now, not only was he hardworking, but also a uniting factor from whom a lot was learnt. But there were also pending issues that some MPs say he would have wished to see government do while he lived. One of them is the construction of the Culture Union's Palace in Teso.
And away from Parliament, we now move to matters of health, where Uganda has registered a decline in HIV/AIDS prevalence rate from 6.5 in 2016 to 5.5 in 2022. The Minister for Health, Dr. Jenruth Ochen, while releasing the survey report at Uganda Media Center in Kampala yesterday, said this is an indicator that Uganda will achieve the global target of ending HIV/AIDS by 2030.
Looking at a past story where we see Trump comes out to say he's still in touch with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. United States President Donald Trump has told associates since leaving the White House he has remained in contact with North Korea's reclusive leader Kim Jong-un amid raised tensions over recent country's missile tests, according to a report on Tuesday. Now, as we know, he had a fixation on his relationship. New York Times reporter Maggie Haberman told CNN, and the revelation of is contained in her upcoming book on Trump, The Confidence Man. Now, still in the same stories, Ukraine tension, we see Joe Biden says all citizens of the U.S. should leave Ukraine now. U.S. President Joe Biden has called on all American citizens remaining in the Ukraine to leave the country immediately due to increased threats of Russian military action. Joe Biden said he would not send troops to rescue Americans if Moscow invades Ukraine. He warned that things could go crazy quickly in the region. Now, Russia has repeatedly denied all plans of invading Ukraine, despite massing more of its at least 10,000 troops at the borders of Russia and Ukraine. But it has just begun massive military drills with neighboring, that is Belarus and Ukraine, have accused Russia of blocking its access to the sea. Now, Kremlin says it wants to enforce red lines to make sure that its former Soviet neighbors does not join NATO. Now into Africa, where we're looking at prisoners on the run after Ethiopia's jailbreak. Nearly half of those who escaped from a prison in Ethiopia in the early hours of Wednesday morning are still on the run. A total of 130 inmates broke out of the jail in Nefas Machwa in Amhan region. They were aided by those claiming to be members of the Fano militia that has been fighting alongside the government in the war against rebels in the neighboring Tigray region.
Climate crisis is making many people reconsider whether they want to bring children into this world. But some climatologists, however, are choosing to have kids, and they have some hopes that governments will take action and take climate change seriously. Now, on days that climate crisis-fueled wildfires turn the sky in an apocalyptic orange, or when the beach is inaccessible because the path is flooded, or simply when the eyes catch a climate anxiety-inducing headline, now it is impossible not to feel sadness, anger, fear, and even guilt over the world that you bring a child in. Now, multiple surveys have found that the climate crisis affects people's decision to have kids, and in the survey conducted in 2021 by Modern Fertility, more than half of the 2,800 respondents were considering having fewer children or reconsidering kids altogether because of the issues related to climate change. Now, the decision to become a parent is incredibly personal privilege, yet it is one that is being influenced by the climate crisis for more and more people. Now, it has made me wonder whether climatologists are choosing to have kids themselves despite all they are known for, says the reporter. Now, some of the climatologists, however, are choosing to have kids.
Well, now we know that kids are a great contribution to climate, so all our viewers out there, do not hesitate to
imagine having
it's one of the tools now we are going to use in terms of saving nature and the environment. Kids, I don't know the relationship between that.
With the uncertainty around having, all these troubles across the world, I would consider having fewer kids. I don't want to bring in a bunch of kids and then they have to deal with all these disasters.
Can you listen to what Molen is saying? In fact, I want to stop you right there and bring in Robert at this moment. I hope Robert doesn't make the same mistake. Do you concede with what she said?
But Felix, for the time you've been with
Robert.
me, I've always had a phrase I use: children by choice, not chance.
So I'll bring the camera back to myself.
And there are, I'm nowhere an advocate of many children.
Well, guess what? Myself, I love big families. I grew up in a very extended family, and I know the joy of having big numbers. I'm the kind of traditional African person, and I know most of you will agree with me. Philo, I know how to go Philos because clearly I know they are a group of millennials. You see, millennials.
Felix, I'm going to say this. Children are children, but I think you just need to have the number of children according to the capacity you have to be able to look after them. Don't go there having, about 8 children when you actually don't have the resources that you need to look after those children.
Supposing life changes. At one time you have your 12 to dozens, and maybe an insurgency or something, and then there you are. You rather have few
Exactly, which is why we're
rather
also
have few, have two.
Let me just say
that's why
something.
we're bringing in the effect of
Countries,
disaster.
remember,
Now
one
we
time
have
China,
reasons.
the country we cherish today, had a population policy.
Exactly.
So there is even a relationship between few small population towards development. Look, it's one of the economic giants we are talking about, but they restricted people to how many kids you should have. Today you have a drunko, you have what, and these are state problems.
Everyone is
struggling with universal education.
Everyone, whether drunk or non-drunk or whatever I want to call them, everyone is useful.
We need a quality population, not quantity in terms of population.
Well, that's not for you to determine. It depends, and it also depends what's quality to you. Again, but I'll tell you what. You have your 1 child or 2. First, let's have our 7 or 10. It's as simple as that. The world will tell.
Felix, you mentioned 7 and 10, like it's something easy in this era for you to have 7 kids. Really, Felix, you would go for that?
Who said 7? I said 10.
You would go for 10 right now?
And then they will look for, they meet you, Auntie Molen, Auntie Molen.
I just
And then
find
you
it
can't
very,
even
very
distinguish them.
disturbing. Our parents, our grandparents would have about like 10 children, 15 children, and it would be okay, it would be fine. But right now, with, whatever it is happening, and this is why you find that families that have very many children, you find quite a number of people who, or rather a few of those children in these families where they tell you, I barely get time with my parents. Now, these days, parents are very busy. I will have the children, but I also have other things that I have to look at. I have to look at the way I'm going to bring in income to look after you. Now, as opposed to my grandparents or probably my parents who had about 10 children, these people had enough time for their babies, okay? You nurture your child right from the time.
That's the point I want to tell Philo. Speak for yourself. Me, I have the time for my children. What are you saying?
Felix, but you don't represent all the parents, If we're going to be realistic.
Okay,
if we're going to be realistic.
the majority.
And by the way, Felix, I don't think this is a decision
Why is
you
this
make
now
yourself.
about me?
This is not the decision you make yourself. Because guess what? The mother has to be involved. And
Who said
I
they're
will
all
tell you
coming
one
from
thing.
one mother?
Okay, before we get to that, I'll tell you one thing. Because the ladies these days would rather prefer, have fewer kids. Because guess what? That is also in relation with their body. And I'll speak for myself and maybe a few others who share the same idea. Because having 7 kids in this time, it's going to drain you. It's going to make you just be all about kids.
Oh, kids are just so wonderful.
So give that
But guess what?
When you have kids, that's when you know that I think I need some other kids. Kids are wonderful, and now nature needs kids, just as the story showed. But of course, also, one time there's a gentleman called Nadudi here in Uganda, I think, who made that loud sound. But you see,
even we had Untitled, who was a white man, and he would give out those animals to aid those huge families. But for me, you have your many children. If you're coming for me to help, please also bring the mother along.
Well, you see, people like Robert, but they're our friends, we love them. But I'll say this for me, I think it's just about what the plan is for you as a family. What's the plan for you? It's just about that, because the kids you have must fit in the plan you have as a family. or as a father, by far being the head of the family, what plan do you have for your family? Then that will address the issue of kids. But today isn't just about kids. We want to talk about very many things, but among the very many things, Philo, what is this thing that you want to tell us that you've chosen among the many things as you talk about, because there's a direct relationship between what you want to say and children.
Yeah, we're talking about Valentine's Day, and if you realize, we've been talking about it because it has become a big fuss. It's like as days go by or as years go by, there are very many controversial talks that surround it. There are very many people who come in to support it and all that. But I mean, it's not only Valentine's Day. If you look at the calendar, we have very many specific days. Every other day, actually, we are celebrating something. Just because you're not in the know, but there is something being celebrated. We have Women's Day, we have, all these days. And we also have Valentine's Day. Felix is one of the people who Felix and I, sometimes we disagree with the relevance of this day. Yes, sometimes I partially do. Felix is in 100%. Yeah, but then people like Molen, people like Uncle Bob come in to support it, and they think it's a day that you actually need to go in all 100%. So this morning, the morning poll question, we want to find out from you, how do we actually form relevance out of celebrated days like this? Well, they're already here, we cannot do away with them, but how do we actually come out to make sense out of this day? So give us your thoughts, share your 2 cents with us, and we can pick a brain from you. The hashtag on Twitter is UBCGMU. You can also send us an SMS text, or you can even send us a WhatsApp message. The number is 0709 602 592. I know this is a discussion that is going to create divisions, but we have to talk about it.
Absolutely,
yes,
absolutely. And as we talk about it, we want also to talk about it with you. Now, as Philo did say, hit our platforms, that is on Twitter, on WhatsApp, but of course also Facebook, and of course SMS. As you do that, we also want to take a break. Now we will come back to dive into our topic of discussion, where we'll be having a couple of quite divergent thoughts and opinions, but nevertheless we end up meeting our minds. Of course, later on also we'll take you through what's trending in the papers, and do not forget we have weather. But also today, in a special way, we'll be unleashing something quite different as a segment for us, where we'll be bringing into contemplation what's around you, what excites you, and definitely some of the things that do make you feel a weekend mood. Things like movies. Let's take a break.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC, brought to you by.
Their job is to keep you and me healthy and well. But sometimes they try in vain.
How to get points? Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Raising voices.
I feel happy when my mother spends time with me. I hope all mothers will like my mother. I want my mother to reach out to all mothers. She knows how important it is to be a good mother. I promise to help my mother inspire other mothers to change.
In this time of COVID, what is your promise to the children of Uganda? Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Our Ugandan story isn't a new one. It's not about where we come from. It's about what can be accomplished when we're working, living, and growing together. It's about speaking the same language, the language of progress. We're Ugandans building Uganda with Ugandans, skilling Ugandans and developing competencies required in the oil and gas sector, partnering with Ugandan businesses to achieve greatness. We're here to build because at the end of the day, we're truly Ugandan.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Patriotism is a feeling of love, devotion, and the willingness to sacrifice for one's country.
I say no to corruption because I put my country first. I choose peace over violence because I put my country first.
I love Uganda. I serve Uganda. I sacrifice for Uganda. I'm loyal to Uganda. I love myself.
Be patriotic. Uganda first. This message is brought to you by the National Secretariat for Patriotism Co-Uganda, Office of the President.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field couldn't be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, as days draw closer to Valentine's, every man is more worried. Now, I'm being honest. I'm not saying I'm among those people, but I know that every day that draws close, I can tell you. Yesterday, I tapped into someone's conversation, and a girlfriend was asking a girlfriend that, so what budget did you give your man? And then the other one saying about 2 million, and so Katinze was a Mogambechi, and I'm thinking to myself, why is this even a big deal? Now, we talk about this in relationship to issues of relationships again, but how do we find sense in some of the, what brings people together probably will explain why or how people actually handle these particular days. Now, it's important for us to note that people get together in terms of relationships for reasons. Some people will tell you they relate because they have powers of affection. That one I won't go deep into it because clearly, I don't want to use the Uganda saying, someone says it's, but people relate for different reasons. In terms of, some people relate for financial reasons, for a friend, for family reasons. I mean, the reasons are as many. If you ask anyone just why, what do you want from Mullen? Someone will tell you, I love Mullen's chicks. Surprisingly, people will like people for different reasons. But and from that, we get an explanation for why, what we'll be talking about, like how do we get relevancy out of these days celebrated. Now, I want us to take it back again from relationships. The question is, why would you relate with someone? Maybe that should be the first question I should ask, and I'll start with you, Philo, there. Why would you relate with a Chirabo? Let's imagine you meet a Chirabo somewhere, and what are some of the things that you say, I want to, because those things will explain how such days are treated.
Exactly.
Yeah, so what are some of the things that you look at when you want to relate with someone?
All right, so I will just, probably looking from the people that I have in my life, and right from family to friends, yeah. So I think sometimes when you talk about certain things with some people, you have a middle ground. You find that you actually agree on the same things. Now that's ideally draws you closer to this person because you feel you can have a very valid conversation. You have something that you both relate to, you understand. And I think that's like one of the main reasons why people decide to seek out other people, okay? Or maybe sometimes you know other people mutually and also that brings you closer. But also we do have family ties. Now, I will not speak for everybody. Yeah, family ties. I will not speak for everybody because there are some people who actually don't get along with their family members. You know that. It's right. You would ideally think that I can relate with this person because they are my relative or my cousin, my brother, but again, that is not 100% true, yes. But then also we do that because they're family. If you have some family members and you get along so well, I think that's also, it gives you ground for you to relate with these people. But then again, also the environments we stay in. For example, if we are workmates, okay, and we probably spend the biggest time of our day together, I mean, it exposes us to each other. We have a lot of time together. We talk about the same things. We see the same, more or less the same things. And I think that gives you also a valid reason to relate with this person. So you can just never figure out what exactly, like you said, it's a customized way of finding your relations with other people. So
now you're going to be shocked. Molen. Why? Okay, you absolutely, you will trust the millennials to shock you. So Molen, why would you relate with someone?
Well, I don't know, for lack of a better word, I want to use the intellectual capacity for me. As long as we're able to get along in what we think about certain stuff, I will relate with you. So I bring up a topic and I see this person has almost the same ideas of what I would think of it, how I would... I like the challenge, but these are the kind of people that challenge you because you're all going for the same thing and having different thoughts about it. So for someone, you brought up a good point actually. Someone who is able to challenge me, for me, that's it. I want someone who can reason together and that kind of makes a way you're going to look at things. But also if you look at your close circles, obviously, there are people you're not going to relate with because, for example, you don't even like the same things. And I'll bring this in a structure of relationships. So you are going to be with this person, but you're completely opposite of each other. So however much you want them to challenge you, but I love movies, but this person just doesn't like movies at all. So that means you're limiting my conversations. I love reading books, but this person does not love reading books at all. So it's going to limit your conversations, even how where you're heading for things. So you look at the key things, like maybe if someone loves to travel, you're going to have to look out for those people who love the same things. So that gives you that some kind of relationship between you two and can move you together to whatever level you want your friendships or relationships to be at. So that is really key. You must have at least things that are common between the two of you.
Well,
shocking? Not shocking.
I'm sitting here just thinking about what Molen is saying, and it's very, very, very sort of like out of the world. Because, tell you what, I think differences bring the best spark in people. I would think of it that way. Like, I can't stand being around someone like them following me in everything I do, or me following them around. Like honestly, I would want to spend time with someone where we can learn from each other different things. Like Molen loves to travel. Yes. It's not my thing. Maybe I love soccer, and I love soccer so much. Yeah. I think I would learn something about her. Like, there's room for us to learn and share experiences. I don't know.
Because I've really seen people who are actually totally
different. I know, man.
And it makes you question, how did these people, what was the middle ground? What was that point where they actually realized, you know what, we can actually be friends, you know, we can be way more than friends, totally different personalities, different interests, and you're thinking, so how do you get it? Because I've been able even to talk to a couple of them, and I'm asking, so what exactly do you find interesting in this person who has absolutely nothing in common with you? And then they will tell you, I love the way that she's so enthusiastic about this. So it's the enthusiasm of this person that actually interests me.
Which is a very different thing from what like
but also the support. Because when you talk about the fact that you might not like the same things, there is also that support that comes with this person you're interested in. Because however much you might not like the same things, but they are support towards what you're doing.
You know actually what they support?
Yeah.
For example, I'll give you from man's side. We support, it's love that moves you to support somebody. It's never even about what they want or they don't want. It's just that you love this person. So where they go, you will go. Where they don't go, absolutely. So it's
imagine having someone like, you know, sometimes it's about like she put it, the enthusiasm in them. So they just don't have that thing that you have to support about them. So I think one thing that also attracts people to each other is how far they're going with their life ambitions. Because you find that if you're dull, and I've seen this a couple of times, you get dull, you just have nothing going on. It's good.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, this is a factor. You'll be less attractive when you're dull about everything. This person should be able to, you know, be interested and like, yeah, I like what you're doing. I think
this person is attracted to you being dull.
That's the thing. You know, there are people who just love to be in their zone. Like,
exactly.
Just don't say anything, don't do anything.
Don't tell me what you're thinking, just be there.
I'll be shocked if there is someone out there who is attracted to someone dull. So I'd be in bed all day and someone is interested because I am always sleeping. Whenever they call, I'm like, I'm sleeping, and they're interested.
Oh yes.
I'll be shocked.
Somebody will tell you, I love the way you actually lay low. You note about you know what's happening here, what's happening there, and there are also people who appreciate the fact that this other person is active.
But that's also not the point, because guess what? That doesn't mean that you need someone who's going to be everywhere, but in terms of what they're doing in life. So for me, you better tell me, you know what, I really love to do this thing and I would want your support. How do you think I should go about it? Maybe it's business, maybe it's work. I would be more interested in someone like that. And I'm telling me, you know what, no, I'm just sleeping.
You know, what you call dull, maybe the spark for the other person, as a fellow did call it. There's a time I was watching something, and this guy put up a very nice argument. You know how families have all these issues all the time, like they're always fighting about something. Now, everyone like turned against this guy's wife, but then the guy told the family, guys, look here, I think this is very unfair. Everything you say you hate about my wife is what I love about her. So, like, how relationships work out will surprise you, and that's what there's this whole saying that every family knows how they get over situations, their own situations, and that's no wonder how they say that you don't ever say a word when lovers have arguments, because you don't know at what point they actually will understand that, oh, yeah, she was just being this that I know.
But I also appreciate the fact, and I think it's a fact that we all need to appreciate. I think you're picking interest in somebody, and it cuts across friendships, you know, whatever kind of relationship you're having with a person. It comes from an individualistic point of view. You cannot actually, I can't like you, Felix, because everybody likes you for the same reason, all right? So I have come to understand, as you know, we grow, that there are certain specific aspects or, you know, character traits that you see in a person, and probably this is from you as an individual. Now, other people may not see it. I think this explains why there are people who come through and tell you, there is something about this man, there is something about this girl. The rest of the crowd is not seeing the aspects you're talking about. They never notice. So I think some of these things, you just leave them to specific individuals who see them, understand them, appreciate them, and probably they draw you closer to this person. But if you're going to go with the entire crowd, my friend.
If you have to explain why you're interested in this person, if you have to put it a point and be like, you know what, this person, there is something. If you have to explain that, then it's not visible. For me, let me tell you one thing. I would rather associate myself with someone who is going to be interested in what I'm interested in. They don't have to be there with me, but I want someone who, if I'm going to be like, okay, so there is this business idea that I have, like, be that person that's going to push me and be like, yeah, that's a good idea. I think you should go for it. So whenever, I know. But look into this. If this person, even if it's a friend, and I'm one person who has a lot of friends. I don't want to brag about that. But with my...
Oh, yes, she does.
I do, and I can brag about it all day. No. It's healthy. I don't like because guess what? Because guess what? At the end of the day, you need them to be there. So you have an idea that you think all of you can work on, but imagine someone is like, you guys go ahead. They're just always going to pull you back. And that's not what you want in life. You want people who are able to push you up. Even even if they're not going to be a part of it, but they're going to be like, yeah, I think that's a good idea. Go for it. If you can do it. Do it. That's what I want.
Well,
I don't want to have to explain that. You see, you know, this person.
It doesn't take someone to like the same things you like to support you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's what I think. And I know that it only takes someone to just understand that you like different things. Simple for me. Like, in terms of relationships, and as we get now to discuss this whole thing of Valentine's and relating to what we had talked about earlier, I just wanted to ask to give a background with this whole discussion that we do so many things we're not even interested in, even we don't want, but we do it because we know that at the end of the day, somebody will be happy.
Yes.
As a parent, I'll give you an example. I know that out of 10 things I do with my children, or my, like, 9.5 of them I don't want to do them. I'm honest, if not 10%. But I still have to do them because that's the only way I can show that I love them.
Yes.
And on top of that, it's not about sometimes what I want. There are times in life where we need to lose ourselves for the other people to be happy, even when you don't want to. I don't know if any of you knows the feeling of waking up at midnight, 3, 4, to do what? To play. Like, it's
it's not something that you would ideally wake up one day and choose, but
it happens.
You're making a compromise, a sacrifice, all these things.
But anyway, let's talk about this whole thing of Valentine's now. Why do, and I just want to be very straight, and I'll start with you, Mullen. I'm sorry, I'll say again, the millennials. That why do you make it look like this day is about women? And secondly, why does it look like it's only women who should receive love?
Now, I'm going to give you a background of how that comes about. It doesn't mean that I subscribe to that notion. It doesn't mean that I subscribe to that notion. But guess what? It is, and I hate to say this, but society has set it that way to be like...
Society, man.
Yeah, be like men
the
are
women's
always.
Society.
But guess what? If I came to you, Felix, and I'm like, you know what, Felix, I'm interested in you. I love you so much. You're going to be like, okay, the boldness. So it has been always women on the receiving side. Okay. You guys get to make the move, you get to get the approach. So, which is why women have laid back and be on the receiving side. But also, guess what? I don't subscribe to that notion, especially when it comes to days like Valentine's Day, because everyone in that is equally, you know, being loved, because you're talking about love, you're celebrating love. So I think that women should be able to step up their game. However, men will be expecting gifts like maybe car tires.
What?
You know? Maybe you can.
Do you know how many men have cars in this country? Out of 100 men, only 10 have cars.
So if you're dating a man who you know has a car, I think the best gift would be like, give them car tires. Find something.
You can even give the man the car.
I wouldn't let my woman. I wouldn't let my
But guess what? I don't want us to
That would
get
be
taken up. I don't want us to get taken up because that's not what women are doing. I would count for you to be just like 1% of who would do that. So we always resort to the smaller gifts, but the fact that, you know, we're always on the receiving end, we expect a lot. So for example, men don't like flowers, but for me, I'd be expecting those flowers. A huge percentage, a huge percentage of men don't like flowers. And for you to show up, maybe you're even planning on a date with flowers for your man, the guy will be like, I wish you brought I wish you brought cutters. So for us, we always get a little bit of
that's
that.
the thing. Are they for planting? I mean, but anyway.
Exactly, which is why we don't choose that. But for us, we will be expecting it. I will be just having my vase already ready to receive those flowers.
Now, I just want to bring in Philo here, and I guess you have some feedback, Philo, from our viewers, but also want to encourage our viewers. Please share with us what your true thoughts are about our poll question. Our poll question is definitely about how do you form relevancy out of these celebrated days, like in particular, we're looking at Valentine's. Now, share with us, look at our social media platforms, that is on WhatsApp, on Twitter, but also for some of you who are on Facebook and on YouTube, those who are streaming live on YouTube. But let me bring in Philo. Probably you can start with the feedback, then you can give me your comment.
Well, Derek says special days like Valentine's make us memorize and contemplate more about events that happened that very day. People can only know how far they've moved if they look back how they started, and it gives them several reasons to jubilate. So Valentine's is worthy to be celebrated.
Wow. Wow.
One of the few men that I've seen totally in agreement with this.
Derek is always on point with his how he analyzes issues, and I love him. And thank you so much, Derek, for always watching. Of course, he's been very, very committed viewer from Match India there. I understand he's also a baby cool man. That's why he has Gagamel.
Yes.
But of course, also we send shout outs to Bebe Cooler. He was on a comedy night some time ago, and he pulled up a very nice show where he exhibited again. He loves to talk about his woman. And that for me makes me like him about that. He's proud of his family. He's one of those people who will talk about his family when he's supporting his children. Like I saw him one time watching a Pro Line game, and his son Alpha scored a goal.
Yes.
Who didn't know that goal? You know? So for me, I really, really admire that about him.
Yes.
That he puts his family out there, whether you like them, whether you don't like them. He'll talk about what the girl achieved, the daughter, what the wife has done. Remember when they just started their cake business? You don't know what Beko would do. Every time you'd meet him,
that man really supports his wife, and he has that kind of love that he would go an extra mile and put a hashtag. Like he's just that loving, and I also like.
But I don't think that's also normal. Sure. But let's go to Philo. So Philo, it's still about the same thing.
Felix, get some love.
I'm counting on that. But speaking about the same thing, Philo, as I did ask my sister Molen here, this whole thing of why do you think it seems to be imbalanced in terms of how it's appreciated for the genders, for the feminine and of course for the masculine, that all these days seem like they belong to the women.
The women are on the
from
receiving
them.
side.
Yes, I mean,
but
what's the theory?
Well, first of all, I think that is one of the reasons why I totally disagree with what we do on Valentine's. Now, I love the story behind Valentine's. I love what ideally should be done on Valentine's. But I hate the fact, and I speak because I have seen most Ugandans do that. Now, I don't know what the rest of the people...
It's okay to say.
Not really. I'm not really so big on it. Yeah,
Okay.
but I see what people do when this day comes. I see the expectations. But I feel like Ugandans have just they've distorted the meaning of Valentine's, all right? It has become something else. Everybody has something they are looking out for. Yes, I love the fact that you did highlight that women always expect something, that they are on the receiving side. But just because society makes this look normal, just because society totally agrees with this, it doesn't make it right. I will tell you one shocking thing, and I'm pretty sure even you, Felix, as a man, you probably agree with me. I talked to a certain couple, or rather a certain number of men, like the last month, and I was like, so you as a man, how would you feel if actually your woman came out and gave you a gift? Now, the funniest thing I saw, they actually love being gifted, okay? Now, they do. Felix, you do. If I actually came out and gave you an offer, like, you know what, Felix, I want to take you for lunch today.
Do you know what I'll first think about? I'll be shocked.
Exactly.
The second thing, I'll be worried.
Which is why we say society has put it
yes,
that way.
society has driven it to that side, but it shouldn't be okay.
Normal.
It shouldn't be.
Do you know how
fine.
many times people have told me they're taking me out and I paid?
If I am going to take you out, Felix, it's because I'm ready financially. I am going to pull something out of my wallet. If I'm taking you out, I don't expect
also,
you
Philo,
to.
have you noticed one thing when you're out on dinner, that always the waitress will come and
they
pass
will place
the bill to
the
the
bill
guys
to the man, even when I'm the one who is going to pay.
And guess what? There's a time we're there, one time, and we're paying. And so we stand, because someone told me I'm taking you out. I mean, so we stood, we are paying. They bring the bill, I'm like, she looks at me I'm like, oh yeah.
It's a very, very awkward silence that happens right there.
I wouldn't risk to be taken out by a woman unless I really, really, really know them and we can joke about it, like, hey, won't you, like,
Felix, I'm going to take you out for lunch today, you know.
Yay, this man needs that. Thank you, Philo. Kudos to that.
But I'll say this also, Philo, that there's something quite interesting. Let's talk about the gifts. Let's talk about the gifts. Now, there's been this argument about gifts.
Yes.
Some people say, most recently we've been talking about socks, hankies, and I had one person say that even if the socks is a Dior or a Louis Vuitton, I don't care. I don't want your socks. But And I just want, again, for us to just touch this whole thing of gifting.
Yeah.
I understand, I have read, I was taught by somebody who was very close to me that there are love languages.
Yes.
They told me there's a language of affection, gifting, what words?
Yeah, words. Then there is, I think, physical
touches and blah, blah, blah. Now, I have grown up knowing whether we are in an intimate relationship or we are just a casual relationship or family or workmates or my children, for example, I think, and I know this for a fact, that a gift, I would appreciate the thought of someone gifting me. For me, that's good enough. However small the gift would be, or even, and that has helped me a lot because I never expect. That's why for me it's okay to take anything, whether it's a soap.
You have learned how to manage your expectations.
Because I know the people I live with.
Exactly.
So, but this whole thing of gifting, why do you, and mostly women, attach a tag to even what you want to be gifted? Like how can he give me this money? What? And that comes to even how money things are. So what should it be like, does it matter what kind of a gift, what volume of a gift, or how much of the gift? Like someone asked, how much did it cost? Like, does it really matter?
Yeah, for me, I think that we have really put it into a different level where we have to put a lot of thought to this, but also it comes with emotions. And when you talk about gifting, especially for people who love each other,
what do you mean emotions? I would like to understand that.
Because why I'm bringing that is that men always have this limited category of the gifts you can give them. Because you just mentioned it, you don't want stockings. And for me, I think being a lady, I wouldn't be picky on which gift I'm receiving. So maybe I would picky knowing that, I'll be picky knowing that.
Should I give you an hairband? Then how would you feel about it?
Will it come with flowers? Yes, exactly. But I want us to agree on this. Men have this kind of limit to whatever gifts. Because guess what? You could give him a novel to read and he doesn't appreciate it.
Monin, seriously, you give someone a novel.
Exactly. So you see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And you will buy him a shirt and he'll be like, this is not my type of shirt. He will not wear it. You will buy him jeans and he will not wear it. So you guys are so picky to that extent that we are just limited to hankies and stockings. And that seems like ideal. And also, I want to say this, men are very bad at picking some of this stuff. So you have stockings that are just normal. And for me, I want to get you a Louis Vuitton.
But they're simply stockings. They go in the shoes. No one even
But they are not as comfortable as the ones I will buy you. So I want us to, because of that, you guys are limited when it comes to gifting. But I think it's also, the thought should be enough. The thought should be enough. If I think to give you a gift, attach that and be like, okay, she was thoughtful.
Even
she went out there.
But I'll say, at least your underwear is somebody thought about bringing.
Yeah, but imagine I give you a gift of this shirt, and over the years you never wear this shirt. Do you really think I'll go back to do that?
But the gift is mine.
Yeah, but you're not wearing it. It means you didn't like it. It means you didn't like it. So next time I'm not going to buy you a shirt. So and before you know it, the next Valentine's Day, you're buying him probably jeans and he doesn't wear it again. So you're also limited. He doesn't like stockings. He doesn't like hankies. Now the things that you're buying,
just give him the money he'll buy for himself.
So exactly, which is why I said you guys would rather take in money and cut tires than the gifts that we can actually afford sometimes.
So Philo, this whole thing of gifting, is it something that should come from, like, should people take time to study their friends, their probably parents, mom, and maybe parents, whatever people, relationships you have, like, is it part of, like, should you first know somebody before you give them, or you just, fix a situation?
There are very many things that come into play when gifting, and we don't even know this, okay? Just because I want to put it in Luganda, I don't know if that's how you're gifting, because, well,
it's the
occasion. He expects me to gift him, she expects me to gift her. But there are certain things that come into play, quite a whole lot. Number one, you just need to know the type of person you're gifting, okay? Whether it's family, whether it's what. And also, you will find that some people don't appreciate material. Like, I don't have to go and buy flowers, because for me, if I buy you flowers, Felix, and you don't appreciate them, me as a person who has gifted them to you, it kind of hits me in a totally different way. But if you're the kind of person who probably loves traveling, I could gift you with a trip. okay? So you need to understand. But also there are people who just have expensive expectations, or, you know, yeah, you also need to understand that, okay? That is how you're going to draw something that will probably give a whole lot of attention to this person. People really downplay stockings and shoes and
someone
belts.
wraps gifts, someone would wrap socks in such a very beautiful. They'll spend about 100 getting the wrapping and the socks.
So that is why we say the thought
could
matters.
go and buy you
look at the way
probably
it is
Nike
packaged.
socks. Maybe this man is, say, who I could say a sportsman. Okay, probably he loves Nike socks.
Workouts,
you love. Maybe this man loves perfume. You probably go buy him. He buy him a Givenchy perfume, and they really love it. So you need to know the kind of person you're gifting, and I mean it cuts across again. Family, friends, could be your dad. You know your dad probably loves leather shoes, and you go and you buy, I don't know what type of shoes.
Quara shoes.
Quara shoes, indeed. He may show you the appreciation, but I mean he's going to put them somewhere in the wardrobe, like, you know, that's it. Yeah. So I think you just need to study the person.
You just say that I have shoes that I've not put on like in 4 years, and yet they were gifts.
And that was the pair of shoes you probably
because this person might not gift you the shoes again. But me, my advice is, while you're looking at gifts, also it's important to look into this person's life. Lately, what have they? What is that one thing that they wanted to get?
Why would I go through all that trouble?
No, but if you're living with someone, if you know someone, you know that they have been thinking about something. And for ladies, let me give you one tip, Felix.
At that point, you just don't gift.
Let me give you one tip.
Money.
Have you seen how ladies always have screenshots of what they want? They have this thing that is pending. Maybe they saw this beautiful shoe. It will always be in their screenshots.
Let me tell you this.
So take a hint, get into that, and be like, okay, let me get her.
I want to say this categorically clear. This whole thing of expectations is wrong. Secondly, gifting, the word gifting is not requested. Now, that's the problem we have these days. People will even tell you what they want you to gift them. Can you imagine? Then that ceases to be a gift. Like you told me what you want, so I'm giving you what you want.
They don't have necessarily tell you, because like Felix, you'll be here and you're like, I think I need a new shoe. I really like this brand. I need a new shoe. So for me, I'll pick up on that, and I'll know exactly what to
I think again, there are people, you see how you will mention that in passing. There are people who will pay attention to the detail.
Absolutely.
There are certain men who actually understand. This is the kind of this is how she's communicating to me, or even when you're not communicating.
Exactly, those are my kind of gifts. Those are my kind of gifts.
So you may not be communicating. Those are my you kind may of just be talking about it, and the man will really note it down. Oh, she actually loves this shoe. And there are certain men who will go an extra mile and find out, where can I get this kind of shoe? You know, all that.
Kind of men?
They are, yes, they are. There are some.
They do what?
Really, really detail-oriented men. They will go and find out where to get this shoe. Exactly. There's some men who even know where their women do their shopping from. It's really crazy, but it happens.
And he will show up with bags of clothes, and he's like, babe, this is it.
But there are some men who just don't have the time. They're like, what do you want? Shoes? We give you like, how much do you want? So you also need to understand the person you're dealing with.
Things are not made for men. And honestly, if there's a man doing those things, they're doing it wrong.
I disagree with Felix.
How
you
are wrong about
ask for shoes for.
No. I disagree with Felix. By the way, just because you're that kind of man, it doesn't take away anything from your masculinity. I have said this once and I will say it again with a whole lot of strong conviction. It doesn't take away any masculinity from you. Do what you have to do.
Let's just have a very, very small comment lastly. I grew up and I'm very dear about my family, and in particular, I choose to be very dear about my mother and my lovely grandmother. My grandmother is my long-time girlfriend. She's been my partner for life since I was a kid. So I love her so much. And I say this because I want to bring in something to do with family. There's this thing, and I want to ask. I've asked it before, and said I want to ask to the two of you. There's this thing called water and blood. You've heard of that saying?
Yeah.
That blood is thicker than water. Now, when we marry, I get married to my Mullen here, and my grandmother, who I love so much, dearly, by the way. Even speaking about her just makes me feel.
It's evident to me first right now.
Yeah.
When I marry Mullen, what place does she keep? Like, is this whole competition of our families, our biological families, and our families that we make.
Yes.
So who is the blood, who's the water? Who becomes the water? Because there can only be one blood. And that comes into such celebrations.
Yes.
Like most of the times, you women tend to make it look like when I get married to you, my family is... Shouldn't we be focusing on such days also to celebrate like the people we love, like really love, like say personally, as I told you, my mother and my lovely grandmother, and of course my little daughter, and you know. But don't you think such days should just not be, people portray them to be for affectionate lovers, girlfriend, in fact even wives don't even
Side
get back
chicks,
much about
seriously. It happens.
Really?
It's a reality.
I don't know about that.
It's
I'm
the
not going to
21st
discuss
century.
that. There's no one who's a side chick. They're in that business, man, for real. But just
guess
about
what?
family.
Yeah.
I just want to have your comment briefly, probably in a minute, before we just let go of this particular segment. And I'll start with you, Molin. What's your saying about there's a big friction between these affection relationships and real blood relationships when it comes to celebrating days like this?
Now, for me, when we talk about love in general, I don't think there should be an effect of, you know, blood or water, because guess what? I have seen a place where you have friends that are more caring and more loving to you than your siblings. So I think that the blood comes in because these people, you love them unconditionally. You actually love them by default because they're your family. But
Really?
the people that come along,
By
yes,
default?
by default, because you know what? This is your sister, your
I hope
siblings.
they're not watching. Honestly, I really hope you're...
But guess what? No, this is my opinion about this. This is my opinion about this. I think that we
I
put
hope
a
they're
lot
not watching.
of context into saying that, you know, blood, I mean, I have to love them more. But you can have people that
they're your
have come in your
family.
life, even if it means, you know, your wife and your friends, they could equally love you and even love you more than your family
One
does.
time-
Now, you're fortunate that your grandmother, you've had that relationship with your grandmother, but there are places where you find that people don't even have a relationship with their family, but they have all these other people in their lives.
But then there'll be a
that
problem.
They made a big contribution.
That's not something it's supposed to be okay. But let me
it's
tell
not.
you,
It's not a
one
given.
time I was doing something with some my relative, and I told him, no, like you don't have to do that. Like no, but you're my brother.
Yeah.
Like you're my son. I have to. And for me that was a big deal. And Fido, just as I come to you, like, don't you feel that we are cheating on our blood relationships with this affection relationship? I don't know if I put it right. Like, I feel like there's a part that is not getting the best from us because we move on to another. That's why I brought in the issue of where's the blood and where's the water?
Okay, so here's the thing, we just need to understand there are two things that happen, two situations here. You could have family, they are your family because you're connected with blood, but also you are not family when it comes to the way you interact with each other. The way you have been raised, it's totally different, okay? So you don't relate, you don't have a middle ground. We have these families, okay? They don't talk to each other and you think that...
What kind of family is that?
It happens. No, these are realities of family. I mean realities that happen in these families, Felix. Yeah, but also, now that is how you find people seeking relationships from outside their families. They come along with these other friends who... she's more than family to me, you know, and they're talking about friends and all that.
They
but also,
family. Period.
That's blood.
How do you define family? How are you defining family?
I never buy into it. But then also there is a situation where you get into a family where they have this very strong bond. Now that is where the respect comes in, and you have some respect for the family ties. Felix, say, you know, maybe I'm going to get married to you, and I know you have that kind of relationship with your grandmother, with your mother. I think to me, and your daughter, I think to me as a human being who is just getting into your life, I need to understand that these people were in your life and you have a very strong relationship with them. So it's only courtesy that I respect that kind of relationship. And by the way, when you do that, it projects well on you as a person. It also speaks much about you as a person, your character. I don't have the nerve to come in and start antagonizing. That is why we get it wrong.
Actually,
so you need to respect the relationships that you find in these families.
I used to tell the people who I used to relate with that I think there's a very much shortcut to me because of the shortcuts. So
and some women are smart. They know, okay, so he loves these children, he loves his grandma. She's going to make sure that she creates an attachment with your grandmother.
And what Felix is forgetting is that once he gets married, he has created his own family.
Yeah.
So you have created your own family, and that's
you actually
totally
have to strike a balance between the new family you've created and your family. Yeah.
Now that you brought in the issue of balance, please make sure that you strike the balance even this Valentine.
Yes.
As you give your wife, give your mother. As
give
you
your daughters as well.
That's the thing. As you give your girlfriend, give your daughters.
And your
as you give your, I'm not talking about child side chicks. But thank you so much for keeping. Those ones shouldn't get anything. But thank you so much for keeping it with us here on Good Morning Uganda. And of course, being a Friday, we will try to lose it up. Now we have been talking about the issue of celebrating, gifting, and definitely relating it to relationships and Valentine that is coming very soon, Monday. Don't hide yourself, by the way. Don't hide yourself. You'll be phoned.
Don't fall sick. Don't have meetings. Don't go for workshops.
I am men's conference. No men's conference.
Well, anyway, let's take a break. We'll be back shortly. We'll be taking you through the papers. That is Uncle Bob on the other side. Of course, he also give us his opinion about this thing of gifting. But let's take a break for now. We'll be back shortly.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Our Ugandan story isn't a new one. It's not about where we come from. It's about what can be accomplished when we're working, living, and growing together. It's about speaking the same language, the language of progress. We're Ugandans building Uganda with Ugandans, skilling Ugandans and developing competencies required in the oil and gas sector, partnering with Ugandan businesses to achieve greatness. We're here to build because at the end of the day, we're truly Ugandan.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Patriotism is a feeling of love, devotion, and the willingness to sacrifice for one's country.
I say no to corruption because I put my country first. I choose peace over violence because I put my country first.
I love Uganda. I serve Uganda. I sacrifice for Uganda. I'm loyal to Uganda. I love myself.
Be patriotic. Uganda first. This message is brought to you by the National Secretariat for Patriotism Uganda, Office of the President.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome back from Felix and the girls. I want to believe they really did justice to the topic that is about Valentine. But of course, personally, I don't think there are certain things I have to compare. When it comes to my family, that is my mom, my siblings, my dad, and of course the family that I started personally, priority will always go to the people that made me who I am today and not to the person who has come along after a few things there. So, but indeed, they all mean a lot to us, but never compromise anything to do with your biological sister, biological brother, biological mother. They're permanent in your life, yet someone we've seen can be permanent by vows, but then later on disappears. Well, it's time to look at what's trending in the print media this morning, and I have the New Vision with me with a very big headline there. That is UNEB 2018 PLE class could miss Senior 4 exams. According to the New Vision, this morning, a big headline there, the board will have to increase the number of examiners as well. But also the New Vision talks about the ADF hunt, where Operation Suja captures rebels, that is airfield. The education column there, we have Senior 1 Biology and Kiswahili, plus mathematics for you. Still the New Vision, this morning there is President meets Snoop Kikankane group, now reformed, and of course I had some message for them. We look at cohabiting, where succession law angers cohabiting couples. There is so much on how wealth could be shared in eventuality of death. Very interesting there. And I know this is going to take shape more as we wait for the president to assent to this bill as passed by Parliament. Still harvesting money, why that is there's so much actually in the fight against AIDS, where we have the HIV prevalence reduces, but it doesn't mean HIV/AIDS is gone, much as some may jubilate over this. While looking still at the New Vision, still they give you more that is regarding parenting. My 7-year-old won't stop thumb linking. Okay. Or sucking. What do you do as a parent? Then at what age should children join social media? Very good question here. What age should children join social media? Looking at COVID-19, positivity rate is 1.7. New confirmed cases 68. New death 2. Total deaths so far is 3,564. So COVID is still there. It still kills, though we could have reduced the positivity rate. Be careful and perfect the standard operating procedures, but also go and get vaccinated. In case you've not, this is committing an offense against your own self. So go and get that jab to save you severe illness, hospitalization, and the worst being death. I also head to the sports page of the New Vision this morning. What do they have for us? That is South Sudan League 7 in cross country championship. That is Field 7 in the cross championship. And then going for the sprint. What more? Well, the Vision gives you details of that, where we see last year Uganda sprint, they give you the seconds and records made there, but still more. And also Ndeje is prepared. What is it prepared for? Well, more in today's New Vision. I now cross over to the Daily Monitor. Army command in police widens. Yes, more army officers are getting appointments in police, and analysts have come up with that. Then UNEP sets date, that is 4 exams, that is primary, leaving, UACE and also UCE. The dates have really indicated here when they will be sitting their final exams at every level of examination at national level in our education system. And we see opportunities for you. The Daily Monitor brings more job opportunities for you. Check through, you never know, this could be your major breakthrough or long awaited for opportunity. And where are they? They're asking stars, today being a Friday in Scoop, people that once dominated airwaves, social media, and now disappeared. There is a question, they bring you a number of them in the Daily Monitor. Man pays killers 5 million to murder elder sister. And the cartoon, the lizard, is asking, were the police in the bush or regarding the army command in police widening? Now the lizard there has a comment and wondering why now more are going into police administration. Still more in history today, Obote explains Kabamba attack, and also in history, India passes first test of democracy. I move to the sports pages of the Daily Monitor this morning, and we see more regarding that is football, as well as more on women's football or soccer in this country. Nadunga ready to repay coach's faith, but also Kambale still key. Many of these in the world of sports. Don't forget, Ruben will be here to give you all the details, all those catchy conversations and training in the world of sports. Ruben will be giving you more of that. So do not miss out on that. But let's move to our neighbors in Kenya who are preparing for elections, and time is drawing nearer and nearer. Well, a very interesting yet worrying situation in Kenya, where we see 4 in 10 Kenyans cannot pay house rent. We are looking at COVID-19 makes people slide into poverty in the history of Kenya. Yes, we all know how COVID struck various lives. Then fashionable, trending, dazzling, and modest. They give you so much on that. Then state to pay for teachers on training program. That is in Kenya, the state will be paying for the teachers there. But also there is so much regarding politics. That is in the Daily Nation this morning. So if you get a copy of any of these papers, you'll be able to get more of what is entailed and detailed in the papers. We just give you a glimpse so that you're an informed person. At least you know what is in which paper, and that is our obligation. We are here to ensure that you're well informed as we spice up your mornings, and of course Friday being special, there are more light moments that we have for you. I'll now leave you with Maureen to give you more regarding weather and nature.
Well, thank you, Robert. Quite some good weather starting off this morning, and I think it's good for a Friday. But guess what? That is not everywhere, because while we're having a little bit of clouds across Kampala, Wakiso, and Teve, starting off with much of those green colors and those cloudy conditions also towards southwestern. Now the areas that have woken up to a pretty sunny morning, that is northern Uganda, parts of eastern Uganda, as well as around Lake Choga. Now that region has been quite dry for quite some time, but we are seeing more and more of those sunny conditions, dry conditions across the area. And that is not different from what we're starting with today. Now this is coming in from our satellites that are overlooking Uganda, and this is real-time data showing us what is happening across the country. Now I can tell you one thing, we do have those cloudy conditions that are forming towards southwestern Uganda, and those are most likely to bring us a little bit of rains that is across parts of Bushenyi, Mbarara, but also that will be just a few areas receiving those, and maybe those will be even clearing later as the day progresses. But what we have is that we are continuing with those sunny conditions across midwestern Uganda. So Hoima, Masindi, you're in for some very, very dry weather this morning. You're looking at mostly sunny weather. Also for northwestern Uganda, you take a look at Arua, Yumbe, that area, all right now dealing with a little bit of a mix of clouds and sunshine, but we do expect at least those to clear up to mostly a sunny morning. Now where you see those white colors, this is where we have cloudy conditions. Now that takes in parts of central Uganda as well as Kampala here, the nation's capital. We're having a little bit of clouds, but also that is having some intervals of sunny conditions as well. Now take a look at the eastern parts of Lake Victoria. We're talking about this area of Tororo, Jinja as well, starting off with quite a sunny morning, and that will be continuing into the rest of the day. We're also forecasting mostly to look at sunny weather still over eastern Uganda as well as the Karamoja region. Take a look at Karamoja there, mostly in those grey colors, meaning that we still have a reduction in wet weather activities when it comes to that area. Moroto there, also for Amuria, Padel, that area is still expecting mostly sunny conditions for this morning, and most of that will be crossing over into the afternoon. So it looks like even much of the day will be mostly with dry conditions. So it doesn't seem like we have much luck for rains this morning compared to what we have been dealing with for the last couple of days. At least we did have a few of those showers coming up for most areas, but also you take into consideration that we're headed for the weekend, so I don't think we should be complaining about the kind of weather that we're seeing right now, because guess what? It's good for the weekend. You don't want all those rains raining on you or messing up your day when you're heading for a Saturday event or even Sunday, because you look at Saturday being one of those days where people do have even weddings, introductions. And guess what? I won't say this as a scientist, but someone who has followed up some of the, culture beliefs. It is said that when it rains on your wedding day, it's a sign of good luck. Now that remains to be debated, because I'm a scientist. I believe in facts. I don't know how luck is connected to it raining on your wedding day. If it were up to me, I'd rather it doesn't rain, because it doesn't make sense. If you're bringing in good luck, then why is it messing up my dress? No. And maybe the luck can wait. But people do believe in that African traditional society, I guess. So even when the rains come in, please do welcome them and take them as a sign of good luck. But when it shines, I think it should be more enlightening, and it should spice up your event, knowing that it's going to be, raining or even shining. But guess what? I'll take you through what is likely to happen in the next few days. And from the models that we have, at least overlooking the medium range forecasts for Africa, we're taking a look into into what Saturday might look like for you. Now, we do have most of the areas expected to have a little bit of rains. We're looking at the southern sector of Uganda, taking in the Lake Victoria Basin. That area will likely continue with mostly rainy conditions, but more of that is to the western side of Lake Victoria. Now, where you see the blue colors, those are the areas that are likely to have rains as we head into Saturday. And that is where we have the Lake Victoria Basin. That is where we have most areas within central and also for northern Uganda. You can look at most of those open colors in white. That is where we still expect to have continued dry conditions. Now, it's still going to be sunny across parts of eastern Uganda, Sorority there, across the Karamoja region, midwestern as well. Areas within Fort Portal, you look at Masindi, Hoima, that area is most likely to continue with dry conditions. But southwestern Uganda, take a look at Kabale there as well. Kisoro, that area in blue colors as well, most likely to have rains as we head into Saturday. But we'll also take a look into what we're expecting for Sunday. Now, as we move into Sunday, we start to see things going down a little bit. So the rain start to reduce across parts of central, but a little bit, even when you see the color pattern there on Lake Victoria Basin, it's just within the faint colors of blue. So that means that we are likely to have reduced wet weather activities. So that means we'll be having more of a sunny day than a rainy day. So even when we have rains, there will be just to a few areas. You also look into southwestern Uganda, the Kabale Highlands over there, also in that blue color, quite light. So that means that as we head into Sunday, we might also be looking at little rains over there. So much of the country will actually be dry, dealing with mostly dry conditions. Now, as we head into Monday, things take a turn. We will have mostly reduced wet weather activities. Much of the country will be dealing with dry conditions, and what we are seeing is just a few parts within the Lake Victoria Basin that are likely to have a little bit of rains. But you take a look at that deeper system that is south of the continent right now, where you're seeing it's embedded towards mostly Tanzania, that is likely to be taking much more of those rains. Now, they are not our rains, but I think they can have them for now. I don't know whether we're comfortable with the dry conditions, but we're also headed for our first major rainy season, and very soon we will be giving you that forecast for what is likely to happen across the country. And I know there are a lot of people who are eagerly waiting to see what goes around within the forecast, how much is being covered, and what advisory for you will be in the forecast. Now, those rains are soon coming, and most regions will actually have early kickoff. We might be looking at late February, especially within the southern sector. And we've known some of those regions, especially to western Uganda, mostly the southern sector. We usually have those rains kick off even late February, so it might not be a long wait. But although the seasons will be defined once we have also that rainy seasons defined, and that is as we start into March and heading for May, that's when we can actually count on those rains. But well, that is what we have in terms of weather. Now, the good news is that I will be here Monday to take you through the latest updates on the weather that is happening across the country. Now, we still have more for you this morning, and it's a good Friday as we usher in Valentine's Day, which will come Monday. And too bad it's not a public holiday, but it's a Monday. We'll be here again. But do stick with us. My name is Molan Kenyana. I'll still be around, and we do have more coming your way, so you do not move.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's super cool to be a mass superhero, to get the spread of the virus to zero. Did you know that just wearing a mask is not enough? Yes, correctly wearing a mask will protect you and others, but you still have to remember to wash your hands with clean running water and soap, or using a sanitizer, socially distance, and avoid crowded areas. Wearing a mask helps protect you and others from spreading viruses. To get the spread of the virus to zero.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Raising voices.
I feel happy when my mother spends time with me. I hope all mothers will like my mother. I want my mother to reach out to all mothers. She knows how important it is to be a good mother. I promise to help my mother inspire other mothers to change.
In this time of COVID, what is your promise to the children of Uganda? Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Our Ugandan story isn't a new one. It's not about where we come from. It's about what can be accomplished when we're working, living, and growing together. It's about speaking the same language, the language of progress. We're Ugandans building Uganda with Ugandans, skilling Ugandans and developing competencies required in the oil and gas sector, partnering with Ugandan businesses to achieve greatness. We're here to build because at the end of the day, we're truly Ugandan.
Patriotism is a feeling of love, devotion, and the willingness to sacrifice for one's country.
I say no to corruption because I put my country first. I choose peace over violence because I put my country first.
Patriotic, Uganda first. This message is brought to you by the National Secretariat for Patriotism Co Uganda, Office of the President.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, it's always a pleasure having you with us here every single morning, especially on a Friday morning like this one where we are concluding the week. It's been a very crazy week, but it's time for us to loosen up a bit and try to transition into the weekend mode. My name is Philomena Masco, and it is the Good Morning Uganda Friday edition. This morning, I am joined by Felix Nkunda, and the man is full of energy. You need to see him. I don't know why. I don't know, maybe because it's the weekend or maybe because what's going to be happening in the next week, but the man is full of energy, that I can tell you for sure.
I'm going to get gifted.
Well, welcome to the entertainment sector now. Like he had told you, rather not sectors, segment, but Felix had already told you earlier on that we are launching something, and this is going to be happening every Friday, where we give you all the entertainment information that you need. What's been happening in the entertainment sector during the course of the week, all right? Our artists, our actors, our actresses, the so-called socialites, yeah, all that will be giving you everything concerning them. But Felix, you know, before we get into all this information and all that, there is something I just feel like we need to talk about, and people have been complaining out there. They're not bringing out their complaints, yeah, and it's in regards of the succession, the amendment of the Succession Act that happened in Parliament, okay, which clearly states that indirectly but directly, if you're cohabiting right now, there are chances that if the person you're cohabiting with passed on, you stand a chance of not having anything left for you, okay? In the will, whether they've made a will or not, there are chances that you could just walk away like that.
Actually, if they died intestate, the law says intestate, that if they didn't put you in any declaration, the Succession Act does not cater for you, the intestate. But I just want to ask you something. What makes marriage? just one word. What makes marriage?
Sacrifice. That is what I'm going to use.
Okay.
Yes.
Just 2-3 things. Sacrifice.
Right. So sacrifice, compromise,
and
love.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, among the 3 things you've said, I don't hear a word like church, rings, or what.
But those are the details that go untalked about. For every woman, even every man, by the way, they feel like there is a certain commitment that comes with going to church, because you know there are people you're accountable to. Now God as well.
You see, and this is where the law is being misguided. That the law cannot bring into force a blanket appreciation of issues. When people live together, in fact, even the first wrong thing I find with this is the word they use, cohabiting. When people live together, they do so many things together.
Yes.
They don't have to get, you see, marriage should be a choice of those who will to do so.
Exactly.
It can't be a demand or like cracking a whip, like you're punishing people because they didn't get married. People should deliver themselves to that point when they feel they should get married, away from being boxed in. If you don't do this. So, are we meaning to say, in fact, this particular law, I'm telling you, it is going to get very many cases in court where you're going to have guys go to court and tap. It is so segregative.
Yes.
It is not fair. It's not a fair law. It's again, it's natural justice. You cannot say that I've lived with Philomena for 25 years.
Absolutely.
We have made things together.
Yes.
We have had children. We have had good moments. And maybe we didn't believe in marriage. And that could have been a mutual ground for both of us. You know, because at the end of the day, the ceremony of marriage, in as much as recognized by institutions like the church culture and definitely the state, it cannot be the definition of people's livelihood.
Yes.
Because how many people get married and actually don't even live like married? Those are all questions. So I find the law was a bit unfair, because when you stay with someone, like when you go to actually jurisdictions like Tanzania, 10 years living with someone, the law will qualify, will look at you as if you would have been married. So you benefit directly from the estate of your husband or your wife. So I find this law a bit...
Actually, even in Kenya, it's considered greatly. Yes, it is considered greatly.
That in its own self, this law in its own self, first of all, between you and me, ask out of 100 relationships, how many actually are married relationships? Because laws are not made for the vacuum. They're meant to act in consummation with the societies.
Yes.
How many people get married in this country? You get the point. What is the law on marriage? How easy is marriage? For example, Because before you get to such harsh laws, you must be able to define that getting married in this country is as easy as maybe it should be.
Yes.
But look at the processes, look at all these things. So I think the law is not timely, I'll be honest with you. It's going to cause very big challenges.
Very big
because
challenges.
it sets a very, very idle concept of legitimacy and illegitimate. Basically, the question about illegitimacy: who is legitimate and who is illegitimate?
Yes.
But remember, they are beneficiaries out of either legitimacy or illegitimate. If I don't marry you and we have 7 children, I know you want to, but well, I'll stick to this. But and then we have 7 children because I didn't marry you. It leaves these kids where?
But you see, something is going to come out of this. I think people are going to be a little bit more intentional, okay? If I am going to be in a relationship with you, now this is where you're going to find the external pressures. And by the way, I feel like there are very many people who are going to die of stress.
External pressures how?
Let me tell you, because you know the law is not in your favor, Felix, I don't want to sit and cohabit with you for how many years? 5. My friend, anything can happen between then. I don't want to be left in a space where I have nothing that will look after me and my children. So do you know what is going to come as a result? I am going to pressure you into marrying me, and I want you to do things officially.
I don't think you can pressure someone into marrying you. That's the most, and I'm sorry, I'm going to use it. That's the stupidest thing anyone can do, both men and women.
It is.
If you pressure someone into committing to you, it doesn't make sense,
but it happens. It happens, and the people are very comfortable with that.
Have you ever seen someone who plants a fenet tree, a jackfruit tree, in the middle of his sitting room? That's like you planting a seed in your sitting room. It will definitely grow and take the roof off. You box someone in about relationships. That's actually it's the only thing that you should let events happen as they should. Honestly, I don't believe in marriages for someone. It will come back to you.
Anyway, at the end of the day, what we're trying to say is that be very intentional with the kind of relationships you're having right now.
I like the word intentional.
Yeah, be very intentional, because things have taken a legal turn, and you probably think you love this man, or you love this woman, but things may not turn out as well as you would. Getting into the entertainment sector. Now, we know that COVID-19 has been happening. It has affected very, very many sectors. But recently, Uganda, we are still in a celebratory mood where we're having this buzz trying to get back on their feet. We're trying to see people still trying to get back their, their energy to go and be part of this nightlife, contribute to it, but also be a bigger beneficiary. But we also want to take our focus on the artists, okay? The artists who give us this music, who entirely, by the way, depend on us as a country, as the people who consume their music. How has it treated them, okay? And how are they coping? I think we're about now 2 weeks into it.
Yeah, we're getting into the third week.
We're getting into the third week. And Felix, I want to be honest with you. I want to borrow Uncle Bob's words.
Uncle Bob.
Yes, I want to borrow his words. Yeah. From a journalistic perspective, I have tried to, I've tried to get around the stretch to see how it's happening, what it's doing. And you know that people are still hesitant.
Where have you been?
No, for real.
They're
still hesitant.
Are they?
It's not as packed as it used to be. 2 years ago, people would be, I would say, spilling out of these bars, of these night places. You find this park, you don't have any parking space. Right now, you're guaranteed that you'll find parking space. Now, do you think this actually is affecting artists in one way? Because, I mean, when we go to these bars, there are certain things we experience, okay? Apart from the things we consume, the drinks, even music we consume. Yeah. Now, what does this mean to an artist? What does this mean to a musician? Okay, if you know that this place is not packed, that means people are not listening to my music. I thrill when they consume my music. Do you think this is actually going to have a very serious effect, as opposed to what we thought maybe they're going to get back to their economic status? Do you think it's going to beat them hard?
Well, I think we are quick to forget that it's been 2 years into nothing like entertainment. It's been 2 years, man. It's been over 600 days. You can imagine how things can change. Human beings respond to activity that happens spontaneously or in routine. Now, previously people would go to the bar and even sit, but not because they even have anything or they want anything, but because it's Friday,
yes,
and people think Friday you're supposed to be somewhere, so
but not
like
home.
so they have not been doing that as a pattern for 2 years, and they're just getting there. When they think about going there, they're like, but I've been watching also this series of mine. Let me just like now they're competing interests with entertainment,
yes,
because of the habits, the mannerisms that have been appreciated for the last 2 years. So now there's a competition with all these happening places that previously people have been doing so many different things, and now getting back, it can't be like in a snap, yeah.
Yes.
So that's one. But secondly, relating to artists, I would say this: artists in Africa, by far, apart from some of the Western African artists, when you go to countries like Nigeria, the likes of the Davidos, the Joe Boys, the Fireboy, the Timayas of this world, the Don Jazzies, the Patorankins, they have moved far from direct earning from the industry to indirect ways of earning. Now, when you come to countries like Uganda, Kenya, the Tanzanias, you go to Congo, you go to even South Africa, southern part of Africa, the South Africa, Lesotho, Zimbabwe have tried to be professional. Their industries are more professional than ours. Now, in Uganda, an artist must earn directly from the subjects, I'll use that word, directly.
You
no
have you have a concert, you have to collect cash from the doorway there.
Absolutely.
That is how you're going to get the money.
In fact, for some, I'll give a particular example. That remember those days when Bobo used to have shows in Busabala, Good Boxing Day, what? You would find the wife on the gate.
Hey!
You would find Babi in the
and there are coupons,
yes, she's the one giving the tickets.
Yes.
You get it. And at some point, even the guy would pass by to find out.
You're sure you're doing what you're supposed
that's
to
the
do.
thing.
Yes.
Direct. Now, even, and I associate with these guys closely. Even at some point when we have these shows, the artist will tell you, man, if you know, pay the cocoa gate. I mean, you be, those guys, I don't
they
trust
don't want
them.
to let any
That's the
10,000 just
now,
go.
that's why this season has beaten them badly. That there are no indirect ways of earning. And when the people are not out there in the places where they should directly earn from them, they're definitely not going to earn. Now, when you talk about less numbers in happening places, it's evident that if people are not out there to spend, artists are nowhere going to earn. Because remember, they earn directly.
Yes.
Like, you will have a musician come in a night bar to sing a bit. They call him. Now, people don't come. So, what does this mean for us? Now, we must gradually eliminate direct ways of earning from the arts industry to indirect ways, because direct ways are not sustainable, and COVID has given you the best proof. But indirect ways are sustainable.
Yes.
And I'll tell you how. When you look at people who are signed to labels, they don't earn from what they have done today. They earn periodically from the art they create, whether it's on market, whether it's not on market, whether someone has paid, you will still earn. Now, that's an indirect way. For example, if Philo has a line and she signs artists, she promotes what, you will earn. Now, the problem here, artists are the artists, they are the managers, they are the drivers, they are the
everything.
chefs, they are the designers, they are the omega and alpha in their own category. That's why you hear many artists here say, because they
multitask.
No, it's because they're actually adamant. They don't know that the world has changed. You can't manage yourself. Like, who puts you in order? You've heard this story about the likes of Derulo. What's it called? Jason Derulo, when he had issues with management, and it cost him. It cost him so much. You had you had the likes of the guys like Fat Joe, the Ja Rules of this world. Why they actually came down, and people like 50 Cent kept on going up. It's about the management. Like, imagine if you remember artists like Sierra, when they were signed to VIP Records, everything changed. Like, now here you have an artist who even wants to know the chairs that will be used in a show. He's the one who will pay the contractor. In fact, Ojamus, you'll find a musician cleaning the chairs. Because what am I saying in all these things? Music and all art must professionalize this job.
Yes.
Like, let's have people who know what to do it.
But also, actually, that makes me think, just to complement what you're saying, I don't think we have all these, you know, the record labels that they will invest all this
They're
cash
actually
in
there.
you.
You'll be surprised.
In Uganda, really?
I tell you, they are there.
I feel like they come with very many terms and conditions. Yes.
Because the kind of artists you have.
We are not giving them
The
enough.
kind of artists
we don't
who
have
beat their
talents that
managers.
will be worth their investments.
I think we have
They
so
have
much
questions,
talent,
they're
Philo.
doubting, like, will this person really get back my money?
I think
if I
it's
put
the
my
culture.
money in this artist,
Like
am I
when you
going to-
know
yes.
that the teachers in that school, they beat, and the school's not for beating, you maybe skip to take your child there. You're like, So the industry, the kind of artists, by the way, they're very indisciplined. Ugandan artists are very indisciplined. And I say that in cap because I know it, I can testify.
Indisciplined
They
in
never
terms of
keep
what they're
time.
not professional.
Those are the small things that qualify you to be professional. They never keep time. I want you to tell me a musician ever called and they kept time in this country.
But they're
Honestly.
trying to pick up. They're trying to pick up. But the biggest percentage is true.
Their show-offs unnecessarily, their language, you know, issues of content. Now, I don't know why, but they're like the omegas and gods of the world. So because of those small things that make them lose their professionality,
Yes.
people don't want to associate with them, by the way. And some brands here, there was a time in this country where brands like MTN used to put so much money in musicians. The breweries, they used to pay a lot of money because even to have ambassadors, they put them on retainer. But man, for example, you tell someone, Philo, you are ambassador for, let's say, I don't know how, maybe don't drink and drive.
Okay.
Now, the next day they catch Philo in Kawinyem. What kind of ambassador is sort of, you know? So I think for me, these guys are not ready to go professional. And that's why things like COVID will still hit them hard because they choose to be, can still have a hit.
Yes. And they're very comfortable. In fact, I feel like our artists, I don't know whether we are the ones who enable them as the people who consume their music. An artist here, a Ugandan artist will give you like a song or two, and then they first sit back. I don't know whether they're just waiting for you. There are a few we've had that have been very consistent with their music, okay? But even when the consistency is in, it's like the music is depreciating. All right. Yes, there are some artists that will give you probably 3 good songs. There are a few artists who have been able to consistently give us songs that we can relate to, we appreciate, and but then there are people, haven't you been there and you started wondering, but where did this artist go? And then you try to do some
Coco
research.
Finger.
And they tell you, but he has a new song. You're like, wait, he has a new song. It was out 2 weeks ago. So I think the consistency sometimes is there, but also, what are you giving us with you being consistent?
Do you know what brings that? Direct ways of it. Let me tell you, when you go to Rwanda today, the first song almost every Rwandese knows who's about 15 and above is Yo Yo, that song of Michael Ross.
Yes.
Surprisingly, and Nakudata. Those songs are about 10 years ago. But they'll play them and they'll be happy. And now that shows you that maybe these guys can earn better from their music if they only concentrated to going professional. For example, today, when was the last time you saw Michael Ross performing? Poor man, last time I saw him getting born again and what. But
and the last time I actually saw him was when he was being bounced off the stage. I think that was the last time I heard of him. Yes, when we had an international artist on the platform,
yeah, I
and
remember.
he wanted to.
And,
Felix, this is Felix. He's accountable for whatever he does.
That is what he was doing.
But yes, also speaking of artists, when we compare Uganda to the East African countries, now Uganda I think was the last country that had their nightlife open. We had Kenya come out and all that.
Tanzania never closed.
Tanzania never closed.
I should talk about it.
Do you think these people are actually giving us very serious competition? Because you would think for us who have been under lockdown, we haven't been able to do all these concerts. Yes, some people have been able to come up with some good music, but then again, there's some hiccups, there's some hindrances. So do you think the competition is actually really tough? I'm talking about from countries like Kenya, countries like Tanzania, countries like, Rwanda. Rwanda has been giving us very amazing music.
They're trying,
for a minute. Yes, I was thinking, wait, so this talent has been in Rwanda for a while. So is this like, do you think we're facing serious competition? Are we even going to be able to match up?
Competition in East Africa in terms of arts, I'll tell you the truth, Uganda is by far. And I can take you back as far as 25 years. When we still had Lingala here, Congolese music had dominated. The change of talents, and the reason why I say this, compare how many artists we have sold to the international scene, or how many people have appreciated the music internationally vis-a-vis East Africa. When you go to Tanzania, someone will talk about Diamond Platinum as being the beacon of them and all that. He has traveled, done collabos. But when you look at, if you want to compare this best, look at international awards.
Yes.
You know how many awards have come here.
Oh,
but also, I want you to look at today you would play a Ugandan over 100 songs, Ugandan list, and you won't quit to enjoy the music.
Wow.
But if I played a Kenyan, I can't play 100 songs. And even in Tanzania, unless I'm going to play Diamond Platinum alone. So Ugandans have tried, but the industry is not supported. Why? The reason why you see that we are having a stiff competition with countries like Tanzania, people like Tanzania, their industry have grown very fast because of things like internet, availability of production lines and all these things, which we don't have here. Government is more interested in those countries to promote arts. In Uganda, we are still struggling with the internet. Now all these things happen best when they are online. People can see them when they are online and all these things. So we need to, I think there is a bit of things we can do to make it better. Competition though is good. I like the fact that Rwanda has done well most last 2, 3, 4 years. Kenya is still lagging behind, I'll be honest with you. They have stayed in the cocoon of their old-fashioned music. Tanzania is up there running. Uganda is still up there running. South Sudan, I don't know where they are because I've not had a Sudanese song in Uganda play.
What I know about
forever.
South Sudan is that they are always willing to consume other people's music. They do that.
Probably.
We have Ugandan artists who actually go there
Burundi,
to have performance.
Never had a song from Burundi.
Maybe it's just not their forte. It's not their thing. They're probably focusing on other things.
Clearly, but I think so far so good. There is so many nice music. In particular, if you want me to tell you maybe 2 or 3 songs, like most recently we had a song with Eddie Kenzo and Rickman. We had a song with Jose Camillo.
Yes.
And That's Forever song is very good.
Yeah.
There's a song by someone called Zex.
Zex Bilanji Lanji.
Pyum Pyum.
Pyum Pyum. Well, that's it from the entertainment news that we have for you. But again, we're still happening. Now, that was about the Ugandan artists, how they're faring in the, in the industry, after post-lockdown, after 2 years. But also because we are fully open, I could say you must be having plans. There is something that you must do over the weekend, Felix. I know you also have plans.
Me?
You will get a plan. I'm sure there is somebody who's going to give us the plan. So if you don't have what to do or say, Mollet is going to be giving you, probably if you love movies, all right, she'll be telling you what movies will be coming out during this weekend, where you should be able to catch the movie from. Or if you're the kind of person who really loves books, she's also going to be giving us some of the books. Do you love reading, Felix?
Huh?
Of course you love reading.
I have to read. I'm forced to read.
You have to read or you love reading?
I don't really love it, but I have to because of the kind of work I do.
I
end up
so you're not actually the kind of person
I wouldn't sit there and just read anything. I only read when I have to.
The first lawyer I have seen.
I've been a scholar. I'm still a student. So it's hard for me to spend time reading something that isn't direct into what I'm studying or what I'm going to teach.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, Marlon Kenyan is coming in with some of the updates, what you should be looking out for. And of course, it's still part of your entertainment. She will be also telling you what you need to catch up if you, I mean, the kind who does Netflix. I do Netflix, so she'll be telling us what's trending. But also, before we get into that, you need to know that we have a poll question that is running on Twitter, and that is, how do we form relevance out of celebrated days like Valentine's? And just to get into some of the feedback, we actually have one from a gentleman who says, for women's type of gifts do not matter. So he's actually saying we go in for any kind of gift. But all right. But our fears are the repercussions that would come after when you have gotten misunderstandings. and he says that ladies were funny.
When you argue, that's when they tell you. Now you gave me your thing. You think it was a...
It was even low quality.
I know.
I think Molen should tell us. Molen, they're still really attacking us and saying we always come back when we are having misunderstandings. We get back to the type of gifts you gave us. Is that true?
But guess what? I mean, why is Felix so hung up on this gift thing? I don't even know.
And there are many people who are supporting him.
I don't agree with that kind of, notion. But guess what? If you give me a bad gift, I feel like I would comment or complain, but later. I don't think I would right away be like, I don't like it. No, because I don't want to put your efforts down. So I'll go with the flow.
Well, that's Molen's thought on this. But anyway, what's happening? What should we be expecting to watch over the weekend?
Bella Ciao.
Well, I'll give you my take, especially on the movies that are showing now in cinema. And one of my picks, that this is going to be bringing in a different twist. That is one to look out for. But this morning, I also want to tap into what you are reading, what to look out in terms of the books that are out there. And I'll tell you my first pick. The book is called Open Water. And this is by a British Ghanaian writer. At the age of 25, he is bringing in a love story that is very amazing. Open Water is one of those books that you should be going for. And this is already selling on Amazon. It is already on, if you have Amazon Kindle, this is one you have to really be searching right now. It's a good book, and it brings in a twist of that throws in a little bit of his life experience as he went through life in London. Now, moving from Ghana to London, he also explains such a bruising love story about a young black artist in London. And what he talks about, his protagonist is actually a photographer who has fallen for a dancer. And in his story, Nelson also proves a very mastery at young love, cloaking the small and seemingly meaningless moments that encompasses love. And in just over 150 pages, he narrates, intimate pages of how love is celebrated and the art that has shaped his characters' lives, also interrogating the unjust world that surrounds them. Now, I'll tell you what, this movie is already having a lot of ratings. And if you're a reader, you will know what it means when Waterstones give you a 5/5 kind of star. And that is what Waterstone has given this book. And at Open Water, also you look at the reviews that it has gotten from Goodreads. Goodreads has given it 4.2 out of 5. And so far, that is so good. And also one of actually my best ratings when it comes to what I'm reading. I always look at Book Depository, and they've given it 4.2 out of 5. This is a good book. And now you look at the age of 25, Nelson is bringing on board such a culinary journey between Africa, Black lives, and being in London, and such a love story. The quite small moments that you take around and be like, okay, this is how love should look like. Now Nelson is bringing into context of how that might feel like in a different world. And for me, that is a good recommendation. But also one interesting book that you should be going for, and a take of my favorite as well. I have read this book, that is Clara and the Sun. Now, when you look at Clara and the Sun, it is also bringing in technology. How can we relate to technology and have that companionship? Now, Clara is, one good one, having to relate with a robot. Imagine that. And this is how this story is actually amazing for me, because it also looks at an artificially friendly robot named Clara, who sits in a store and also looks at observing the world to a test. Now, she finds a friend within the store to relate with. While she's observing the world, she's also observing this friend, and before you know it, they're actually long-term friends. But it also explores the dynamic between Al and the teen. Now, Al is the friend that Clara is now getting friendly and getting to know humanity, and also looked at the narratives about unsettling questions about humanity. Now, the robot is actually assessing humanity, and much of that also has a love story in it. This is the good part about Clara. I mean, everyone needs a Clara. Everyone needs a Clara. But guess what? Imagine a robot relating with a 14-year-old, and that is how this novel is actually good. Now, this is by the author Kazuo Ishiguro. This is a Nobel Prize-winning author, and about his debut 8 novels down the road, you look at this book being one on top shelf right now, and according to the ratings that are so far moving around, also Waterstones has given it a 5 out of 5. That is a good read. And like I said, also my favorite from Goodreads is actually giving it 3.8 out of 5, and that is good enough for me. And guess how many likes it's getting from Google and across all the people that are downloading this book from Amazon and Amazon Kindle? 82% liking for this book. This is one you should be going for. And in a world where we've gotten busy, we can hardly relate to friends, you need a robot. You need a Clara. And I think that is why I would rather get myself one. But also, you look at some of the books that are really a good read, and some of the platforms actually, what Kindle has been so nice. They have reduced their rates actually if you're purchasing a new book, especially if it is your first read. So this is a good time to actually take advantages. My favorite, and what could be everyone's favorite, especially as we're looking at post-lockdown, it's called After Parties. Now, you can imagine what is encompassed in the After Parties book. Now, this is by Anthony Vasner, very old man, but he still looks at life in that kind of angle. And After Party is actually a good one because Anthony Vasner is looking at a debut collection also at that reveal a portrait of a Cambodian American community in California. Now, it follows 2 sisters in a family with a 24-hour donut shop. Now, as they reflect on the father who left them, it also focuses on high school games and highlights badminton as one of those, and also a coach in the game who is stuck in the past and desperate to win a match against the local star and a teenager. Now, there is also another story that a mother is hiding a secret. Also, a love story with a major age gap. And I feel like this is what this century has shaped around. We have these love stories with age gaps. If you remember the story of Priyanka Chopra and Nick Jonas, people were all over them about the age gap of 10 years. Now, this book is coming out to address that and look into how nice that can be. Now, while he also describes the tension between his characters, he navigates with humor and care, and that is, for me, that's a highlight. I mean, there has to be that kind of appreciation about age gaps in love stories, but also the fact that this book is bringing along, high school life and also a life of 2 sisters. That brings in family, and this is what we were talking about earlier, about a family. When you look into how you relate, is it the friends? Is it the family that is blood, in quotes? I'm borrowing Felix's words. But look at the overview that has been given around. Now, Waterstones has given it 4 out of 5. And also Goodreads is giving it a 4.1 out of 5. Clearly, this is a good read. And you also look at most of the collection from Cambodian American life. They're very comic, they're very inspiring. And this is one you should be going for. But guess what? So those are the books that you should be looking out for. There is Open Water, there is Clara and the Sun, and of course After Parties. Now, my pick, I already have Clara and the Sun as a read, so I'm going out for the After Parties, and I think there's a few pages. But guess what? One other thing that you should be looking for, guess what? We also have upcoming events that are coming up, and I know people who are excited about this. Philomites must be one of them. Some of the upcoming events that we have in this year, especially February, I want to look more into Roast and Rhyme. This is one that has been... Philo, have you been to Roast and Rhyme before?
Oh yes, I have. I have been before, at least before COVID hit us. Because I actually do love outdoor events. They're kind of my thing. Yeah. So I've tried to be in attendance of Roast and Rhyme, and I love that experience. I think it was just, you know, as opposed to most. For us to start venturing into some of these, you know, blankets and wine and others. I think, and it's a culture that we are trying to pick on, and Ugandans don't disappoint. But there is one thing about Ugandans: we are very enthusiastic people. We love giving chances to things. We give benefits of doubt,
especially when it comes to food. And you know, Western Rhyme brings in the issue of food. Yet having all this nyama choma around.
Yes.
But the good news is that it is coming back. And guess what? Already scheduled for the 27th of February. And
but you guys have not talked about. No. I do buy into what Philo did say about outdoor events.
Yes.
It's my thing.
Yes.
I just like to enjoy nature as I sort of like do a bit of party.
Yes.
But also, don't forget, Ruga will be in town.
Yeah.
The man himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be in town. But then also, you need to, I don't know if you've been following up the conversation, and this was mainly on social media, on Twitter, and people were complaining about the fee that was being charged.
100,000?
Yes, 100,000 again.
For one eye?
They actually...
What if the nigga had two eyes? I know, that's rude.
Ugandans are really straight up. But you see, the issue was, honestly, 100,000 Ugandan shillings. We're looking at Ruga. Okay, yeah, he's one of the artists in Nigeria, and there's a section of Ugandans that believe he's one of the upcoming people there. So he's not worth 100,000 Ugandan shillings. And I was thinking, well, maybe because of the fact that he's not Ugandan, he's from West Africa, and that's it. But also him being, they actually say he's being a curtain raiser to Azawi. You know, it was just a whole lot of talk. But I mean, we also need to appreciate our Ugandan artists.
No. It has nothing to do with appreciating.
Watering down the rate at which Ruga has been doing music. I mean, we're
Ruga.
still dancing to DR. This guy has been doing good music regardless of whether he's upcoming or not, so he's worth the 100K. And you know, you have the blends of Azawi coming in. Azawi is also in the same category of upcoming. Exactly. So Ruga, I'll put him at that level, and he cannot be curtain raiser for anyone at this point.
But
we're still dancing to DR
Ruga,
and other
you see,
songs.
he has the heat, East African heat, European heat.
Yes.
The guy, you know, you can't downplay Ruga, man. You can't. It would be unfair if in Uganda we are still listening to this. I think 100,000 is just the right amount.
Yeah, I think it's.
And plus, this is a concert where no one is forced. There's no attendance.
But the attendance is going to be crazy.
I tell you,
one thing I also have come to understand is that in Uganda you will be poor alone. If you're going to come crying, I am poor. Let me tell you, you will be the only one who would go for that concert.
And guess what?
Yes.
You might find that even as we speak, tickets are almost sold out.
While people are
complaining you know, the people complain online, but deep down they're actually buying the tickets. So I feel like this is something that is really not a talk. People are just exaggerating. But guess what? We have one more event that is also upcoming that Ugandans love, the Nyege Nyege event. Now, they haven't even scheduled that. But there is a lot of talk on social media on this ginger-based event. I would say the festival is usually in ginger. But guess what? It's always there, and looking forward to it. I don't know whether Felix has gone for Nyege Nyege.
Nyege Nyege is one of the most anticipated shows in Uganda. I've never been in attendance of one, but I've heard stories from the people who have been there. And I think it usually happens in the last quarter of the year, isn't it?
I'm actually one person. Yeah.
But people plan for it right from the word January. I can tell you there are people who have put special accounts on the side and they're saving for that event.
No, I'll be honest with you. I'm the kind of person who gets excited by artists or events like this. One, because I've been rubbed shoulders sort of with these people since I was a young man. But secondly also because there's nothing new.
You feel like it's just the same thing that happens
There is already
in a different
something
way.
new. There's already something new. But by the way, I feel like we are getting the context of nyege nyege in a different way. But let's get back to the basics. Nyege nyege stands for love, peace, and that joy. So I feel like people have made it be like, one of those festivals you just go. No, there's a lot of celebration, and this event has brought in together a lot of culture.
Yes.
If you look at the culture that glories at nyege nyege, and you find that a huge percentage is actually white people, and you have all these people coming in.
I think
I am telling you, the
person who came up with the
encompasses
concept
a
of
lot
this
beyond our eyes.
So why had
the person who came up with the
government
concept of this nyege nyege, I think they were trying to make it an equivalent to some of those international shows like Coachella. I don't know if you've made a follow-up. So I think that was the whole concept. Yeah, the Jump Fest. I think that was the whole concept they were trying to buy into. I think we can only give credit where it's due.
Yeah. So recently, when the organizers actually took to Twitter to announce that they are planning for this, and this could be scheduled for September, there was a lot of fuss about people looking forward for it. And also we have to remember that it's a 4-day event, so that means there's a lot of culture that will be shared.
Are they paying a salary there?
Although Felix doesn't share the fun at nyege nyege,
no,
a lot of Ugandans are looking forward to it.
Well, who do I leave my children with now? I go to nyege nyege to do what?
You have to talk about children. So don't you take trips? You always
anyway, this argument will not end. It will not end. But at least we have you sorted for over the weekend. Molen has given you all these events that will be happening. You can choose what actually fits you. Thank you so much, Molen, for the updates, the movies and the book reviews and all that. Well, now we'll be hearing from the man himself, the sportsman. He should probably tell us what his plan is this weekend. And I would really want to know from Mr. Ruben if
you'll be surprised.
He celebrates Valentine's.
You're calling him sportsman. He's never played any sport.
Well, at least he speaks much about it. You would probably think that he directly gets involved in it. So I would really want to know from him what his plan is. Is he going to be giving something special? Courtesy of Valentine's on Friday, or he will be expecting?
He'll be the one to give. He's a giver. He's a very generous man. So I don't think he has to be giving. But I know that, and I don't know, and probably I would want to know what sport has Ruben ever done. I don't know, even and what sports are for long people, because Ruben is clearly not tall, but long.
He's long. But there is nothing wrong with that. Anyway, Ruben is here. He's going to be giving us everything and anything that is happening in the arena of sports. But actually, before we get into all that, I really want to know if someone wanted to gift him, what is it that they would give him?
You're asking him or me?
I'm going to ask him. Ruben, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us this morning. This Friday one.
Good to see you. But I love the smartness, the casual smart.
Thank you.
The sky blue, the dark. Is it the darker black or is it the black?
Ruben, this is burgundy.
Black is black.
The color is called burgundy.
Burgundy is which one? I come from the village. I don't know. Burgundy. You said burgundy?
It's burgundy. Now, Ruben, Valentine's is on Monday. Are you expecting
what
something?
What is Valentine's? No, I'm sorry to ask.
You know what Valentine?
I am an old-fashioned person who come from the 70s.
So Valentine.
So by my time there was no Valentine. And so I don't know what it means.
Okay.
But I hear it from the corridors of when I'm going to the village. I hear people talk about Valentine, the flowers.
Yes.
So maybe you can explain to me more what it means to be a Valentine.
Now Valentine's, Ruben, it's just that one special day that is cut. Okay, they put it on the side. You go a little bit extra. If you have been showing love to your friends, your family, your personal person, this day you go a little bit extra. You take an extra mile to show the love.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's it basically.
So what if I'm a Muslim? I have 4 hakis.
It's okay.
How do I Valentine them all? I have my 4 hakis.
That's a good one.
How do I Valentine them?
No,
I'm a Sembaka in Uganda.
The reverse is the truth.
Hey, I'm a Sembaka.
I
have 20.
Auntie Kati, they come together to gift you because you're the one who's won.
Depends on the gift they're giving.
It
depends on the gift.
What gift do you expect? If somebody wanted to gift you, Ruben, what do they give you?
Vest. People give vests.
Okay, guys, let's go into sports. I'll come back to that later. We have games that will be played tomorrow. Of course, my name is Ruben. Good morning once again to everyone watching us live. We have games in England that will be tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. We'll have Man U will take on Southampton. That will be the early kickoff game. Then we shall have Chelsea. Arsenal game was postponed. Of course, we have Brentford, Crystal Palace at 6. Because those hours you saw on the screen are actually British time, not our time here. Our time, it's add on 3 hours. That is 2 hours actually, not 3. 2 hours. So that those games will be played at 6 p.m. So Brentford will take on Crystal Palace. Chelsea against Arsenal postponed. Then Everton will take on Leeds. That's a good one to catch. Lampard against the man from Argentina. The man who had the team that could not qualify from a group stages. That is Marcelo Bielsa. The team that had Seba Veron, Juan Pablo Solini, Pablo Aima, players like Crespo, Batigo, Roberto Ayala. They were beaten by England 1-0, Michael Owen goal. And then they thought maybe again against Nigeria they will come back. The group had Nigeria, had England, had Argentina. What was the fourth team there? My memory isn't right. That was in 2002 World Cup in South Korea, Japan. Lampard takes on Marcelo Bielsa, who has been a joke. For me, has been a joke for some time. Watford, Brighton, then Norwich will take on Man City. That will be the kickoff at 8:30. So you can catch those who love the English Premiership. You can catch those games. Then Bundesliga, Frankfurt will take on Wolfsburg. Gladbach against Augsburg. Freiburg against Mainz. Bochum, Bayern Munich. Now the sure win is Bochum. Those who have the money. I know Michael Sefman Rwanda would bet to Kapapula. You go for Bochum. Bochum might surprise Bayern Munich because Bayern almost are running away with the trophy, so maybe Bochum can surprise them. Then we shall have Leverkusen against Stuttgart. That will be in the German Bundesliga. The Serie A, last year take on Bologna. Inter against Napoli, good one. That's a good game to catch at 6 at Saturday tomorrow. Then Torino will take on Venezia. That will be the Serie A. Then the mighty Milan will take on Sampdoria. If this game was played 30 years ago, Felix, the other side of Sampdoria would have Gianluca Vialli, Roberto Mancini, Rudi Gullit. They will have Mihailovic, Sinisa. They will have Beppe Signoli. Now the Milan side will be with a lot of players, class Donadoni, Daniel Masalo, Boban. They will have Costa Kata, Alberigo Evans, Maldini. Today it is Stephen Nikesi in AC Milan. Stephen Nikesi. Empoli against Cagliari. So there are people who don't know how to pronounce the word Cagliari. They will say Cagliari. In Latino, the G is silent. So you go for the Cagliari.